Welcome to the Mercy House podcast, brought to you by Personally Catholic. Listen as we discuss what is happening currently at the Mother of Mercy House and in the Kensington area in general.
Or you have that one kid who thinks they're getting high and has fentanyl, and then they die, and then someone says, "Oh, they were a drug addict and they did fentanyl and they died," and the parents completely confused because all they did was get high, which a lot of kids do. And they thought they were just having a fun night, which is a shame. And I try to tell kids, it's such a Russian roulette game anymore.
I'm sitting with him one time, and he turns to me and he says, "Dan, I just want you to know, I would never rob you." And I was like, wow, that's love. I'm thinking, I'd never rob you either, buddy.
Well, with my son, I think the biggest thing was up to heroin, and wow, that was the scariest, most horrible thing. And now I'm so happy it was just heroin. It was clean. Now they're on tranq and medetomidine and things like that. And those things, tranq is eating their skin down to their bones and things like that. And we didn't have that back then.
I just said, our job at Mother of Mercy House is just to love indiscriminately, just to love unconditionally, like to be a friend to the neighborhood. Well, welcome to the first Mercy House podcast. My name is Dan Tarrant, and I'm helping out here at Mother of Mercy House on behalf of Personally Catholic, and I'm with the Executive Director of Mother of Mercy House, Diane Hoffman. Welcome, Diane.
Thanks, Dan. Thank you very much.
Yeah, it's good to be here. It's a cold day today, isn't it?
It's actually freezing in this room.
Yeah,
I wish I had a blanket. Honest to God, I would do it with a blanket.
I'm so bundled up. I'm freezing all the time, but yeah. Well, tell us, so why is it cold in here on Wednesdays?
Because on Wednesday we pick up all of our fresh vegetables and fruit from different distributors, and we don't have enough refrigeration here. So we put the heat down or the air conditioning up so that the fruits and vegetables stay cold overnight, and then we're freezing the next day. So we're freezing on Thursdays, and that's just how it is. So in the winter, it's exceptionally cold here on Thursdays.
And that's today, the next
That's
day.
today. Mm-hmm. And this room, I don't think this room has heat, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
So I think it's just cold no matter what, or really hot. So
It's a really cool place to be doing this podcast. It's a cool room.
it's a great room, and it's pretty.
Yeah, and it's right out the window is Weymouth, where all that crazy stuff happens. And praise God for that. I know we'll talk about that today. But this is also the sacristy for the church, for the chapel that's here, and the Eucharist is out there in the tabernacle. So it's a really cool, quiet, tucked away place.
I love this room, and it's very peaceful in here. It really is. I know there's commotion outside, so I guess that makes no sense, but there's something very peaceful right here.
Yeah, there is. I don't know. There's something peaceful for me about coming down to Mother of Mercy House.
I feel the same way, which sounds crazy and no one would believe it, but once you come in the doors, once I come in the gate, actually my drive down is peaceful. So none of it makes sense, I guess, to me.
Yeah, I'm so grateful that you guys reached out and asked me to come be a part of the team. I'm grateful that Personally Catholic has this partnership, this pastoral partnership with Mother of Mercy House to serve and to also lead spiritually in all the ways that are helpful and necessary. And it's like the joy of my life. It sounds crazy, but to serve the people in greatest need has always been the joy of my life. I've always felt like my calling is to help Catholics have a more personal relationship with God. And I feel like when we get stuck in that, one of the best ways is just to have a personal relationship with the poor and those who are in need. Because Jesus says what we do to them, we do to him. So coming down here, I feel like I'm just coming down to see Jesus.
Yeah, and I think that's what you showed the first time that you came down and acted like you would do whatever, and you just walked on the street, and I found that pretty amazing. Yeah. I will say when you walked in the door the first time, I found you a little unusual, to be honest with you, only because you walked in with a booming Jesus presence, and I'm not used to that. And it was unusual for me that you walked in. I felt like Jesus was on your shoulder. He was, I always say, tying your shoes. And I thought, this is a lot for me to have so much Jesus in the room verbally. And then I got used to it, and now I love it. And I feel it when you walk in, and I'm like, this is cool. And you are what you are, and it's honest. You don't just preach it, and then it goes away. You live it. And it's kind of, I'm not like that. I'm quiet about it, but I think that you're really cool about it, and people appreciate that. It's just a different way. We're just very different in that, and yeah, I really like it, just so you know. And yes, like when you stopped filming here, which is what you were doing originally, we were like, no, you know what, we have to figure this out because Dan has to stay with us, and that was important, especially to me.
And it's important to me with Personally Catholic. Like, we do a lot of film work. I also do a lot of speaking, but I feel like we're also called to do a lot of serving. You know, that we're not just called to talk about Jesus. We're called to live Jesus with other people, and that's just being Catholic. So the opportunity to be a part of this community here is like, it's a real highlight for me. Like, it's the highlight of one of the highlights of my life and my ministry. It really is. It's a real joy. I was thinking the other day how much, you might think this is crazy, but how much serving here just reminds me of Uganda. And
Interesting.
serving in Uganda, doing the film work there, we adopted from there. I've spent good amount of time there. It's the same kind of thing. Like, I just see Jesus everywhere because there's so much need. And it's so simple. You're just giving people food. You're just giving people love. You're just listening. And it's the same kind of simple gift that's required here at Mother of Mercy House. You're just giving people food, giving people love, and listening.
Yes, just being a friend. It's funny, I've been in Uganda also for the same reason, not to adopt, but I've been in Uganda, as has Ed, our president of our board, which is so interesting that we've all been touched by Uganda, but I just feel like this is so close to home for us. And I have a son 14 years sober, and I actually have a son 9 years sober from alcohol, my other 14 years sober from drugs, which is why I ended up down here. And then you see a community that I didn't know existed, of people that are here for different reasons, and they have to live with that in their community. And I don't know, it's a very interesting, very difficult community to live in for the kids, the indoor neighbors, the outdoor neighbors, and they all have to coexist. And we try to help all of them equally. It's just a very different scenario than what people think.
It is.
It's difficult to explain. I love this community.
Well, you know what? I was talking to one of the police officers outside because they have Weymouth closed because
Yeah.
everything that happened. Great guys. The guy was from Father Judge High School graduate. I could have hung out with him all day. His name is Barry. We might talk about him later in the podcast. But you know, I just said, you know, our job at Mother of Mercy House is just to love indiscriminately, just to love unconditionally, like to be a friend to the neighborhood. And like, that's really the lane the church runs in. Is for us as Catholics, it's unjustified love. It's not like, oh, well, we'll help you if. It's like, we'll help the people God puts in front of us. And I mean, that's what unconditional love is. There's no requirements. And I completely respect that the police have a different job. The mayor has a different job. Government officials have a different job. And it's a real blessing, and it's really freeing to get to come here and just love indiscriminately, unconditionally.
Yes, I wouldn't know what anyone does out there. I don't know what your job is. I don't know who's doing what. Everyone gets treated the same. I don't get involved in any of that. I have no idea who's doing what out there.
And you know, that was one of the things that really drew me to Mother of Mercy House. You know, when I was asked to film that promotional video way back when by our pastor at St. Andrews, you know, I said, well, let me go and serve with them at least for a day first before I even bring a camera up, because you can't film a community you're not a part of. You know, not for stuff like this, and maybe for a wedding or something. But this isn't wedding videography, you know, and it's really. I always say I'm a missionary filmmaker, and so you have to have relationships. And when I came here, I feel like you guys are so unconsciously Catholic. Like, you just love indiscriminately, which is what the cross is God loving indiscriminately. And you run in the church lane just perfectly. You know, you're not trying to solve problems or come up with political answers. Your goal is just to love people. And it's so freeing and it's so liberating. And I encourage people who are thinking of volunteering or helping out or being a part here in any way, or donating food or financially. It is just a great organization to be a part of, because really it's just indiscriminate love, nothing else.
Yeah, and I mentioned that even to the people that work here and the volunteers, like, there's no politics. Actually, there's no religion that you have to be to come here and be part of us. Jesus loved everybody, and that's how we roll. And you can come in here, we'll call you whatever you want to be called. You just walk in the door, and whatever you need, we'll try and make sure it happens. And that's how I feel. And no judgment. There is absolutely no judgment here.
You know, it's funny, there are a number of times when I was filming our documentary, Mercy at the Gates, I was stopped by a couple dealers. Some of the users were anxious at different points, and I just, whenever I was stuck in a situation, I always said that my weapon was going to be love, and I always have a rosary in my pocket. So those are my two weapons to defend myself. And I would just say, I would literally say, nothing but love, nothing but love. I'm with Mother of Mercy House. We're here to bring good things to the neighborhood, and we're making a film to bring those good things. And I'd say there's no judgment. And once you said those things, it was like people's guard just came down. Like Mother of Mercy House is a known commodity and respected commodity in the community. And when they knew they weren't being loved or judged, or I wasn't filming for the police or something, I'm thinking like, if I'm really filming for the FBI or the police, I wouldn't be carrying around a big camera on Allegheny Avenue. It would be a lot more discreet. Yeah, it was amazing, really amazing. I remember the one time I'm flying the drone to get the drone footage for the movie, which the drone footage just came out beautifully. It was a beautiful day for it, and even though it was rainy and cloudy, it was perfect for the tone of the movie. You know, I had a dealer looking over my shoulder. Oh, what are you doing? Can you zoom in? You could tell he was anxious, like, oh, what's this guy looking at? And I showed him, oh, we're gonna fly over here, we're gonna do this. I literally shot a whole bunch of that drone footage while explaining what I was shooting to the dealer and controlling the drone at the same time. And it was beautiful. They just wanted to know that they were loved. And you can't fake it out here. You know, I used to teach high school theology. You can't fake it with high school students when it comes to faith. You can't fake it out here. You got to be who you are.
You do have to be who you are.
Yeah, you won't pull it off. If you put on a show, the show will end real fast.
Oh, yes, it would. Yeah, and I'm very trusted out here just for being who I am. And they also know I have a son in recovery, and my son will talk to them if they want to talk. He'll speak to groups of kids down here or students that come in, and we're just trusted as a group, as a whole. Mother of Mercy House is trusted. But we did touch on two things that we didn't explain to people who are watching us. You talked about the film, and some people probably don't know what the film is that we're talking about, so you might want to mention that. And we also talked about the bust on Weymouth, and some people probably don't know what that is. So you may want to explain both of them.
We should do that. So I spent 9 months down here filming on Allegheny Avenue, and you know, we wanted to make a documentary that would bless Mother of Mercy House, but we felt that the best way to do that was to tell the story of somebody who served and blessed by Mother of Mercy House instead of doing some feature, oh, and now we're filling a food pantry. And so and it was tough because to follow it, I felt like I was leading us to film an addict. There's a lot of people that are served. There are residents that are served who are not addicts. There are children that are served. There are also addicts that are served. And maybe we'll make a follow-up movie about a resident or a child or do some other video work with that. But we were following addicts, and it's tough to film an addict. You can't really schedule, I'm going to see you next Thursday.
You can't even find them when you want to film them half the time.
Yeah, and so, and you really have to build trust. And that was the real work of that film, was taking the time to build the trust with the guys on the street. So I would sit on the street with them for hours and just chat with them, and sometimes didn't even have a camera half the time, and just spent time getting to know them. And I would tell them, I said, I only film friends, and if I film you, I'll treat you like a friend. And I said, if I film you, you could tell your story. And I just have 2 rules. Never lie to me, always tell the truth. But if you don't want to answer a question, just don't answer it. Like, so if it's something, oh, you think you'd be tempted to lie about it, like, just new topic, you know? And Nick, of all the addicts that I followed, he hung in there for 9 months. And at the very first interview, he even said, oh man, I'm going to be with you the whole 9 months. And we put that in the movie. And it was really powerful. He really was there the whole 9 months. And he was incredibly open and incredibly
really
trusting.
Raw. He was very raw half the time, like most of the time.
Yeah.
Which is sad that he would It's even more sad that you're willing to tell the absolute true story.
Yeah.
There was no
No.
nonsense with Nick.
No, yeah.
What you see is what you get.
What you see is what you get. Yeah. I'll never forget. I knew, and I'll say to Nick, I would say to Nick all the time, like, love you, man. He's like, I love you, brother. And like, you know, we meant that. But early on in our friendship, I'm sitting with him one time, and he turns to me and he says, Dan, I just want you to know, I would never rob you. And I was like, wow, that's love. I'm thinking, like, I'd never rob you either, buddy. Probably go to jail if I robbed you for the stuff you got on you, you know? And but that was real love. But it showed you it's a different space out here, you know? And everybody is using, not just, a lot of those addicts, it's not just that they're using drugs, they're using every angle they can get to get the money, to get the drugs, because they've run out of money. And it was like Nick saying, like, I'm not going to use any angles with you, because he knew that that's how I was treating him, you know, that I cared about him. In fact, the first time he went into the hospital with me at Temple Hospital, we didn't even film it. I was like, Nick, it's so much more important that you just go in. And, you know, he went in and he didn't stay, and that didn't even get in the film. You know, it's amazing. You know, when you're making a movie, there's so much that ends up on the cutting room floor.
Dan, you were down here. There were so many people you filmed that you didn't even see.
Yeah, that aren't even in the movie.
No, so many interviews that you said and so many people you talked to that really, you have so much footage.
Yeah, you know, it's funny, we could actually make a sequel or two if we just had a little more interaction with a couple of the other addicts. Maybe.
I think even those short little interviews, you could just put them all together and you could see everyone speaking.
Yeah. Well, you know, and we have a bunch of them on YouTube, and some of them are on the Mother of Mercy House website, and on the movie website, mercyatthegatesmovie.com, and you can watch those there. Yeah, it was really, really special, and there's so much that's not even in those. It's astonishing. Yeah, so I want everyone, you know, to realize that there's so many Nicks. I mean, you did follow Nick, and Nick agreed to be followed, and Nick looked for you all the time. But when you look out the window, there's so many of them. I mean, we have a lunch on Mondays. The second and fourth Monday, we have a luncheon for them. And we had 147 come last week. And a lot of them we know by name, and a lot of them have been around. I've been here 7 years, and a lot of them I've seen for years. So Nick, you know, Nick we know and love, but I know and love a whole bunch of them. And if you watch the trailer says 9 months of filming on Allegheny Avenue, you know, results in following one addict. We tell his story so as to tell every person's story on Allegheny Avenue. Not that everyone's the same, but that Nick, you look at his life and you get an insight into what it's like to be on the street here and how you end up here. And then you realize, okay, wow, I can see how these other people ended up here, that there's a story. And that no one's having fun. I think people are like, well, they could get better, or they just want to use drugs, and that is so not the truth. No one's having fun. It's not a party. These people are down here just trying to stay a baseline of feeling okay. And they don't even feel okay. No. So it's not like you're driving by and no one wants to be down here. No one wants to be down here. They got here some way and they don't want to be down here either. I'll never forget the first time I interviewed Nick. At the end of the interview, he's like, hey man, I got to go get well. I'm going to go get well. And I'm like, oh man, you're going into rehab. Exactly. Oh, this is awesome. Praise God. I'm so happy for you. And he was like, no, I'm going to go do drugs. I'm going to go do just enough so I don't get withdrawal symptoms. Like, it wasn't even to go get high. It was so that he wouldn't go through that intense withdrawal. Like where they're like pooping themselves, throwing up all over the place. And he just felt really stuck. You got to watch the movie to see how it works out. But the truth is that all these guys feel stuck, and it's scary. I think drugs today, I feel like every generation says drugs today. Holy Hannah, Diane, like. Well, when my son, I think the biggest thing was up to heroin, and oh, wow, that was the scariest, most horrible thing. And now I'm so happy it was just heroin. It was clean. Right. Now they're on trank and metatomidine and things like that. And those things, trank is eating their skin down to their bones and things like that. And we didn't have that back then. It's horrific. You know, I was on Allegheny Avenue the one time sitting there with Nick, And the dealer, I guess, didn't understand why I wasn't buying anything.
Yeah, probably. Yeah.
Like, I don't know, you want a rosary? I come back.
Oh, that'd be a big hit.
Yeah. So, and he, so then I guess he thought I was there to buy so as to deal. So he comes back around the corner like 15 minutes later with a duffel bag of what he called CP3, was marijuana laced with fentanyl for $50.
Oh.
I could have bought a duffel bag of marijuana laced with fentanyl for $50. I could have driven it to some local high school in the suburbs where I live, given it out for free, and had all those clients who all would have been addicted to fentanyl.
Or you have that one kid who, who thinks they're getting high and has fentanyl, and then they die, and then someone says, oh, they were a drug addict and they did fentanyl and they died, and the parents completely confused because all they did was get high, which a lot of kids do.
Yeah.
And they thought they were just having a fun night, which is a shame. And I try to tell kids, it's such a Russian roulette game anymore that you can't, it's not like before, not that I'm saying all kids got high, but it's not like before where you got high. Now it's really a game, a terrible, terrible game.
Russian roulette's a great
It's a great example, it really is.
Yeah, I'll never forget, there's this one guy on the street. Oh, he's an addict. He's probably in like his 60s, maybe even 70s, old guy. And he says, well, for an addict, I mean, for an addict to be alive that long.
to be on the street
Right,
is
that's,
horrible.
yeah.
It's freezing or steaming hot.
Yeah. And he said, man, these ain't the hippie drugs of the 60s. You could just see he was trapped.
Yeah.
It's like, this isn't the world I walked into.
No.
And I think if you watch the movie at the beginning of it, you see news clips from local news, from CNN, and then this clip from Pam Bondi talking, and she said they're lacing, every drug with fentanyl. Anything could be laced with fentanyl.
Anything.
And if you're doing any recreational drug, you have to accept the fact that you might be doing fentanyl and not know it. And that is a scary world. That is a scary world. There is no safe recreational drug.
It's not like, and they can repress it to look like anything. And that leads us into the bust.
Yes.
That was, I guess, almost 2 Fridays ago, which was on one of the biggest drug streets in Philadelphia, which was Weymouth, which is right out this window, and which, we won't even get into, but it was one of the biggest drug busts in Philadelphia. And I think at the same time, it was going on in Puerto Rico and New York, and they all went down at the same time. We won't get much into that because that's none of our business. But the beauty in that's a horrible thing that went on, but the beauty in that I want to talk about, what we see, is that I think that was all finished by about 1:30 in the afternoon. In Kensington, that is so resilient, they still had their street party for Halloween going to 4 o'clock. So here in the morning until 1:30 was, everything that went on was horrific, gigantic, blown up and horrible. And then at 4 o'clock, the street party with the bouncy house and all the food and the kids went on like a regular day. And that's what they made happen for the kids in this area. And now they've had police cars every day blocking the street. And up in my office after school, they allow the kids to play on the walkie-talkie, and the police officers are playing with the kids, and it's really loud and a little tiny bit annoying. But the beauty in that is that the kids are seeing that the police officers are really cool and really fun. And I think it just shows that the police officers are being seen as like cool guys, and they're not bad guys. And the kids they're opening the doors to the police car and they're playing with them. And I think, wow, they're just turning it around to be not the worst thing and making the street okay. And what they did was they concreted up the doors.
I know, you can see right out the window.
They didn't just block them up, they concreted them instead of boarding them up. Yeah. But then they painted them to look like doors and windows. Yeah. And CLIP, which is the Community Life Improvement Program, they painted them like doorways and windows. So when you walk down the street for the kids, they look like a regular street. And I think, isn't that an unusual, beautiful thing to do for people on that street to walk by and not be disturbing?
See, and that's the thing, when I try to describe Kensington, I say to people, it's horrifying and beautiful at the same time. Because there's such beauty Like those little acts of kindness that you know mean the world.
People don't see that though. They watch YouTube in a bad way. They'll go on YouTube and they'll get those people that interview.
It's so silly.
Oh, they'll interview people and then they ask them these really mean questions, like terrible questions. And I'm like, why is that allowed?
They're exploiting the
Yes, they
addicts
are.
just as much as the dealers
Yes,
are.
they are.
I'll never forget. I was on the street, and the one guy, he walks to Kensington with a secret little camera on his chest, and I'm like, I can see you doing that. And I wanted to say, why don't you get some real courage?
Yeah.
Put the camera down and sit here with me with this addict and love him and listen to his story. Like that would take more courage. And it was funny when I started filming. I felt like I had a choice. I could film body parts or I could film hearts, like wounded body parts. And Jesus just told me to film hearts. There are plenty of people who shot all kinds of horrific scenes, and we had to capture some of that to see the real story. So you'll see that in the movie. But we kept most of our attention on the hearts of the people here, because that's the untold story of Kensington, is the hearts of the people that are down here in this old Irish Catholic neighborhood. The hearts of the people, like that resilient heart that the Irish Catholic immigrants were known for, that same resilience is still here. It's beautiful.
It is. And the community and the kids are just adorable. And, they're trying, the families are trying, and it's just different than what people think. People are like, aren't you petrified? I'm like, I'm not petrified. First off, the people on the street you want to help, and the neighbors that are in houses, you feel sorry for them because they don't want what's happening outside, and they get annoyed, and I understand that too. I wouldn't want it in my neighborhood. I just wouldn't. Although I feel bad for them and I want to help them, nobody wants that in their neighborhood, because you have to walk by it, and they are on the street, meaning they don't go in homes, and they do things on the street things are ridiculous, but it's like this. It's a really hard thing to decide. You're helping them, but you don't want to help them too much, but you don't want them out there. I don't know. I don't even know what to call it. It's a bit of a debacle that you're trying to figure out what to do about, and everyone deserves love. So.
Now here's how I know how we're going to have a great podcast, starting with episode 1, is that you and I could talk all day long. And I don't know, I think these stories are important for people to hear. I'm going to put us on track, and we're going to run through our little cue sheet. Are you ready?
Yes.
So, part 1, what's happening right now at Mother of Mercy House? So, what are the events that people need to know about happening this time of year?
Okay, we just had our coat drive. I think they gave away 300 coats, and we still have a list of coats that we didn't have as many of the sizes that we needed, so we're now getting them, and they'll be going out next week to the names and phone numbers that we have. We had food distribution today, which is why I'm freezing right now, and we're getting ready for Thanksgiving. So we maybe give out, every family gets a turkey and all the fixings that go with the turkey. So that goes on now, and then we'll get ready for Christmas. And anyone that's on our registry, which is 148 families and maybe 600 or more individuals, those families with children come and get gifts, 4 gifts for each of their children, and we have elves that wrap them, and we have Santa Claus here, things like that. So we're lining up for all of that. So gifts will start coming in, so anyone can donate to that.
And you know what's amazing when I think about all that, Diane, is like, these aren't solutions, but you're giving love to the neighborhood, and I think that's a big part of the solution, is just letting people know that they're not forgotten at Thanksgiving, at Christmas, and bringing love and being a friend to the neighborhood,
And just taking the burden off them, because it's really hard to have to worry about, are your kids going to get the right amount of gifts, and are they going to get enough? And I just think that must be horrible. And also, even getting around, older people getting around to get the things you need, and having to take SEPTA to the grocery store, 2 buses, or it's just really, really difficult.
Right, because there's no food store here.
No, there's not. No, there's no food store here. And a lot of stores have closed. Even the like the pharmacies and everything aren't around here anymore. So
that's what's happening right now. We're gearing up for the holiday season, and it's a great time to go out of your way to give, because I find that when I come to places like this, I'm much more grateful for the things that I have, and I think God orients me to the right mindset when it comes to Christmas and Thanksgiving, because it makes you less selfish.
I totally agree.
Yeah, and the same thing with my kids. And when they give something, that they don't have to come down here, but they know that Dad could bring something down here, and that's That's important for
Yes, it
them.
is.
That's important for them. So
And it can be simple, you know, it doesn't have to be a big, like some families can't give, and I get that. But people, you know, people are going through hard times, so some families can't give, and that's okay too.
I think every family out there is on the limit. I really think so.
I do too.
Yeah. Next section, a personal story, interesting story of the week. I have somebody that came to mind I was going to share. Is there anybody that comes to mind that you wanted to share a story about, or you want me to go first?
Go first.
All right. So I loved chatting just today with Officer Barry.
Okay.
What a neat guy. So he's one of the police who's now guarding Weymouth, because Weymouth was closed by the FBI. I asked him, how long are you going to be here? He's like, I don't even know until the FBI says you can open the street. And it really shows you, like, some of these cops are just out there just doing their job. But I was talking with him, and he said something about Jesus, like right out of the gate. But in the way a Catholic would talk about Jesus. I don't know. I guess I've done enough work in church work where I kind of know. And I was like, oh, you love Jesus and you're Catholic. And I'm like, oh, man, where do you go to church? And he's like, Our Lady of Calvary. And right across from Archbishop Ryan. And I'm like, oh, man, where'd you go to high school? He's like, oh, I went to Father Judge. And my wife teaches at Judge. And he graduated Judge in 2016. He was a carpenter. And he said he was praying about it. And he said, God, I feel like I'm supposed to do something more, like to give something good to the world. And he kept praying about it. And he said he felt like he was supposed to be a cop. And so he left carpentry and went to school to be a police officer. I guess went to the academy or whatever. And now he's been a police officer for 1.5 years. And he had such joy.
Oh, he was the happiest.
Oh
he was so happy, and he said he loves it down here and doesn't want to leave.
Yeah. And he has two family members. I don't know if they're siblings, but two family members who struggled with addiction. And he said, when I see these guys on the street, I just see my family members, and I just treat them the same way. I mean,
yeah, that was kind of, I thought that was
gosh,
unbelievable. When you brought him in, I was like, I wonder why he's bringing this one in. Yeah. Although they come in for coffee and for the bathroom and all that, but when you brought him up, I thought, oh, what's so different? And then he started speaking, and he's like, I love it down here.
Yeah, and he wanted to, he's like, I was telling him what we do here, and he just wanted to come in, and I told him, oh yeah, there's a tabernacle here that you could pray here, and it's an active tabernacle. He's like, oh man, I would love to see that. I'm like, oh, I'll give you a tour. And he's just said, thank you for what you guys do. He even said it to the both of us upstairs when I finally brought him up to the offices. And he really meant it. Yeah, and you said something like, well, thank you for what you do. And he said, it's nothing compared to what you're doing. What he said. What humility. What a good guy. It was like the all-American Catholic school kid, who made right in the world.
Yeah, exactly what he was.
And then I walked back out with him, and he's like, oh, and she graduated from Ryan, and she went to this Catholic school. And it was like, wow. And you could just tell they all kind of had that same humble, kind mindset. It was really neat. There are good cops out there on Allegheny Avenue. Yeah. Really special. Yeah, they are. So that's my interesting personal story of the week. Is there anybody that comes to mind for you that's worth telling about? I know we talked about Weymouth a good bit.
I think that my favorite this week is Joanne. She was a nurse here. She did wound care. She's been a nurse for years. As she retired and did wound care here, and she came in this week to donate coats. I'm not even going to tell her story because I'm hoping she gets on the podcast. And when she came in to donate them, she was talking about our lunch. We have a lunch for our outdoor neighbors on the second and fourth Mondays of the month. And she has lived experience with, this world. And she asked if she could start coming in on those Mondays. And she's just dreamy and perfect. And that takes a load off me knowing that we have someone so special coming back. Yeah. But I don't want to talk about her a lot because I'd rather her come sit down with you.
Yeah, and I wanted to ask you for a volunteer highlight too, and I guess that's also our volunteer highlight, that she's just been this extraordinary volunteer.
Unbelievable.
And
she lives in New Jersey, by the way.
Wow.
She moved to New Jersey.
And that really is the heartbeat of this ministry here and this outreach. It really is the volunteers. I mean, I think you've created a great culture. The staff has created a great culture, but the volunteers have brought a great culture, and it's just a huge collaborative effort from people all over the Archdiocese and beyond.
Yeah, I totally agree.
Yeah.
Our staff is very small. It's me, I have a young woman, 26, who started a couple months ago. She does the youth and family programs. I have an assistant, Rainey, and he works part-time until 1:30. He goes to college. And then I have Jonathan, who came on a couple months ago, and he does operations. And that's it.
Yeah. And
That's
they're
it.
great.
And you came on board,
absolutely,
you know, just recently. So really, it's a very, very small staff, and then volunteers.
And it's a neat team. It's a neat team. Like, I call them kids. I know they're in their 20s, but they are kids to me.
They are kids to me.
If you're under 30 years old, to me,
Yes,
you're a kid
yes.
anymore.
Actually, the oldest one here is the same age as my fourth son. So they're very young to me.
Yeah.
And but they're cool and they're great.
They are. They're great people.
Yes, they
Like, it's a great collection of people you have here. And you know, one of the things that we were doing with the movie is we're hoping for people to learn about the work here and support it in different ways. And one of those ways is financial. And there really are financial gaps that we're trying to fill here at Mother of Mercy House. And filling those gaps helps staffing, helps kind of those bigger needs.
That would be great. I do have a cute story. You were talking about stories. I had Sister Kathleen, an IHM was here yesterday, and they wanted to take a picture. They were donating money, and also some canned goods. And we were outside, and she said, "I'd like to have a picture." And I said, "Okay." And the kids were outside. My staff was outside with me, and she said, "No, bring out the whole staff." And I said, "This is the whole staff." And she said, "Well, how about the people inside?" I'm like, "These are the people inside." And she laughed, and I looked at us, and I thought, wow, if you looked at our website and all we do, this is pretty cool that we get all this done, and this is the staff.
It's astonishing.
It's pretty cool.
Astonishing. Yeah, every penny that comes into this building is well spent.
Yes. It's a pretty amazing thing, and I do appreciate every single penny that comes in, and it is spent very wisely. It really is, honestly, or I would not work here. I drive an hour. Like, I'm old. Not old, but I mean, wouldn't happen if I didn't think it was a good organization.
Now, the last thing we wanted to talk about is how people could get involved right now. Obviously, if you have the gift to give financially, that gift is always an extraordinary gift. And there are big gaps to close and small gaps to close. So everything from $5 to $5,000 to $5 million.
$5 million, wouldn't that be? The $5 million would be phenomenal. But we need grant writer would be great, because I'm also writing our grants, which is something that I've never done before, but that would be great. There's room for volunteers to do a lot of things. We need drivers now and then, because we have volunteer drivers sometimes picking up produce, because the only day we can pick up is a Wednesday.
That's right.
Because we don't have a lot of refrigeration. So we don't have enough vans to pick up produce. So there's so many different ways. Or if someone has a specialty that they can do, call me and say, "Oh, you know what? I would love to do this," and we'll fit that in.
That's right.
Things we don't even think of.
That's
If
right.
you have an idea that I didn't think of, wow, bring it on.
I was speaking at a church, and a nurse came up, and she emailed me and followed up too, and she said, "You know, I've done street care, street nursing. Do you think you could use my help?" I'm like, "Are you kidding me? Of course."
Yes.
And so you never know, if you feel like you have a calling to help in some way, whether it's specific or just general, reach out. Go to the website.
Agree.
And you can email us. You could email me. We're setting up my email address now, dan@motherofmercyhouse.org. But just go to the website and reach out to us, and we will reach back out to you.
Absolutely.
And you'll be blessed. Yeah, yeah. Well, Diane, it has been so awesome chatting with you.
Thanks, Dan.
This is the first of many
Thank you.
great
Yes,
podcasts.
thank you for starting this. This is fun.
You guys are the best, and I'm so glad to be a part of it.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
I'm going to close with a quick prayer. In the name of the Father, and the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Amen. God, we thank you for Mother of Mercy House. We thank you for the poor, because when we serve them, we serve you. We thank you for the hungry, because when we serve them, we serve you. And we thank you for all those who make this work possible. We pray this in Jesus' name. Amen. In the Father, Son, and the Holy Spirit. Amen.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Cheers. 13.